So if $1 was equivalent to 7 rand, that would make bread 8 rand in South Africa. My name is VJ. I'm 26 years old and I'm a future radio DJ. A lot of you guys have been DMing me, asking me how, like, what does this whole 7 rand to $1 mean for South Africans and the cost of living and everything like that. So I want to explain it using bread, right? Bread right now estimately cost 20 rand. Different type of brands of isinkwa cost around 20 rand, right? So that means, so basically, remember back then when bread was like 5 rand, was like 8 rand, was 10 rand. Remember when bread was so cheap in South Africa? That was during a time when the rand to the dollar was also strong. The rand was like, I remember I was still young, I was still a child, where the rand to the dollar was like 8 rand, was what. So everything was actually affordable. This is why people were able to buy houses, right? So if the rand were to go back to 7 rand, I mean, if the dollar were to go back to 7 rand in South Africa, that would take the price of bread, in which that price of bread is 20 rand, that would take that 20 rand and drop the 20 rand to around 8 rand and 50 cents. So bread would go from 20 rand to around 8 rand and 50 cents.
So the rand manipulation is really a crime against humanity, right? Because we literally have thousands of people dying on a yearly basis because of malnutrition, because people cannot afford food, because it is expensive. We are actively in a cost of living crisis, right? Because of greedy corporations, right? And now I don't know how our government regulates things or how judgments are passed. Like, for example, when it was found out, oh my gosh, these banks are colluding against us, like, is that not treason? Why are they not charged with treason? Why are they still operating as normal? Why were they just slapped with like a fine or whatever, and then just life went back to normal as if they did not commit an act of treason? And what do the regulations and laws that finance, how do they work and operate, and why is it not being enforced? But more than that, on top of the fact that it is like grossly criminal, they're just denying us so much in terms of like an ease that comes with a good economy, right?
Now, apparently the value of the rand should be 7 rand to the dollar. It's currently 18 rand 50 to the dollar. Now, if you're a 2K and you don't understand the seriousness of this, let me explain. A bottle of Hennessy is 600 rand. It means you would be buying that bottle of Hennessy for 230 rand if they were giving us the pay, like the buying power was fair. It means if you're on a 10K salary, if the rand was 7 rand to the dollar, you'd be able to buy a car and actually rent at the same time on a salary of 10K. So this is a very big thing. If you don't understand, let me explain further. You see now bread is almost 20 rand. You would be buying bread for like 9 rand or 10 rand. Meaning 100 rand would still have a better value. I don't even want to get started on petrol. So a bunch of banks were accused of manipulating the rand, as well as, well, they're being investigated, but they're arguing their case. They're saying, investors don't really have trust in South Africa due to its corruption, load shedding, and a bunch of issues. But that isn't really standing, because even the World Bank agrees that the rand should be 7 rand to the dollar instead of 18 rand 50. Now, here's the thing. Even if we do win, it doesn't take, I don't think they'll take the rand. The rand won't be 7 rand to the dollar, but it's probably going to be 14 rand, which is still, like, they're still screwing us over. If you don't understand the context of this, it means other people are complaining that when you're in Dubai and you're buying a breakfast meal for KFC, or in another country you're buying maybe a breakfast or a light meal, you spend 300 rand or 400 rand because of how low the currency of the rand is.
A lot of South Africans would never support the movement, rand manipulation, because most people in South Africa are the beneficiaries of rand manipulation. Think about this. People who are working in foreign countries, especially people who are working in the US, let's just say you are getting paid $1,000 a month. That's 17,000 rand when you convert it into South Africa, because $1 to a rand is 17 rand. Now, okay, we complain about the rand manipulation. Let's just miraculously, it happens that it gets reduced from 17 rand a dollar to 7 rand a dollar. Now it means the very same person who was earning $1,000 now will go from earning 17,000 rand into earning 7,000 rand. A lot of people won't support this movement. I know it's a good movement. It's going to be good for our economy. We are struggling here in South Africa because of that problem. But I don't think a lot of people will support this movement. Anyway, South Africa is known for being socially active, but when it's time to go outside, they don't do anything. So nothing scares me in South Africa. I'm not even benefiting from anything in this country. The only thing that I have is the Green Book. Nothing.
Rent manipulation is affecting everyone, both black and whites. So I just feel sorry for people who drink alcohol because they've been paying double price for almost every beverage they've been buying. I mean, like if a Hennessy is $600, just know that you've been paying more than double price. Like it was supposed to be 232 or 250, somewhere there. But you've been paying double. Car parts, fuel, and all the items that are imported from USA. We have been paying double since 2007. Insane, right? It's insane, isn't it? So anyway, guys, the masterclass is about to be full. I don't like calling it masterclass. It's a seminar, actually. It's actually a seminar. This is going to be the longest seminar we've ever had in the entire world. So it's about to be full. If you have not yet secured your seat, make sure that you secure your seat. Thank you very much.
So yes, rand manipulation. That's the story. The rand to the dollar should be 7 rands, meaning petrol should be really cheap, bread should be really cheap. Things shouldn't be this expensive. But let's go drink and dance. Yo, Zuzaz is a very delicious country.
This is why we say the South African Reserve Bank should not be privatized. The World Bank noted that the rand should have been 7.4 to the dollar, while the actual exchange rate was 18.3. That is more than double the amount. So when you ask who is responsible for manipulating, remember this. The rand could crash to 22 rand to the dollar. This was when the GNU threatened to, the DA threatened to exit the GNU because the ANC didn't do what they want. Then again, the South African rand weakens as budget disagreements remain. Record lows unlikely as the rand weakens amid GNU tensions again in April 2025. The rand takes a hit. As South Africa shoots in the foot, more issues with the GNU. So who's manipulating the rand? The South African Reserve Bank responsibility. The SARB calculates and publishes the official rand exchange rates daily. I don't know what to say anymore. Now, do you blame our politicians for stealing? And the rand manipulation case is going to crash because every single one of them will be paid off.
Somebody who has studied economics and knows how the economy works and is familiar with these things, it baffles me when I see lots of people posting and commenting and making a big hoo-ha about the exchange rate, saying that the rand should be at 7 rand to the US dollar. Let me school you. In this video, we will look at 3 things. We will look at market value, nominal terms, and purchasing power parity terms, because people are talking about the economy and now let us talk about the economy. Okay, so I'm gonna want to start with purchasing power parity because that is essentially what the governor was talking about. So believe it or not, South Africa is a very cheap country to live in. You don't know this because you live in South Africa. So you won't know the difference unless you go to another country and see how it is. Or unless you actually do the math. Okay, let's take for example, you have 20,000 rand in the bank and you exchange that to the US dollar. And they say you get around $1,000, okay, in the bank. Okay, so what does this mean? In market terms, it means that $1,000 is equal to 20,000 rand. That is the market terms. In market terms, that is true. However, in the real world, that is not true. That is far from the truth. If you go to the USA, what you can get for $1,000 or 20,000 rand in South Africa is much less than you will get for $1,000 in the USA. Very much less. They're not equal because the USA is a very expensive country. Similar with countries in Europe, those countries are expensive. A good illustrator of this is something called the Big Mac Index. If you look at the Big Mac Index, it tells you the average price of a Big Mac in different countries. The last time I bought a Big Mac, it cost 60 something rand. But a Big Mac, believe it or not, a Big Mac in Italy costs 200 rand. It costs 200 rand to buy a Big Mac in Italy. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say the fair value of the rand is there. What he's trying to say is that the purchasing power of our currency, the rand, is very high. The rand can buy you way more in South Africa.
I think the rand manipulation is in fact a crime against humanity when you think of the level of abject poverty people are living under in South Africa, our land. Bread is 20 rand, guys. Bread is 20 rand. Less and less people are being able to put food on their table. Like, people are losing their ability to put food on the table. We're talking basics. We're talking just ipapa, nekabish, you know. Growing up, my mom always used to complain about how, like, ikabish ne beetroot are some of the things that you always used to find if genie of a black family, right? Because it was one of the cheapest vegetables you could get. We as black people have a running joke of how, like, January cabbage, because in people are not being able to buy cabbage, guys. It's bad. Cabbage yole ukuthi masishayekile in eyasphutha. Now man ngakwazi ukuthenga into enphuthayo nisho ukuthini? Kusho ukuthi like indaba yendlala, poverty and hunger that is deliberately and intentionally made, right? It's a curated experience of poverty at the hands of greedy capitalist banks, of greedy governmental officials, of go bad, guys. We have gross unemployment. People are not being paid their worth because they know it's okay, unemployment. So, you just have to accept whatever you're given, right? People work under toxic environments and they know they can't leave because ayikho imisebenzi zotholakala kanjani, irandi litekateka.
So if $1 is equivalent to 7 rands, does it mean our salaries will decrease? No. My name is VJ. I'm 26 years old and I'm a future radio DJ. Guys, the big question is, will our salaries decrease if the rand gets stronger? If the rand goes from 18 rand to 7 rands, will our salaries decrease? And the answer is no. There are certain things that might happen if that were to happen, that the rand gets stronger. Like, tourists can't afford to come to South Africa anymore. It won't be cheap for Americans to come here and be like, oh my gosh, everything's so cheap, y'all. Like, I just bought a property. You know what I'm saying? So it would mean more buying power for you guys. It will basically mean your 10,000 rand salary, your 20,000 rand salary is now worth way more. You know what I mean? But it will also negatively impact people that are in the exporting business. It will impact them negatively because now they won't be making as much money as they used to before. And also for the people that are working in South Africa but working for companies in America or whatever, it will also affect their salaries. So if they're getting paid $1,000 a month, and that is like 17,000 rands or 18,000 rands, that you will see a huge difference in your salary. You know what I mean? But yeah, do your own research, guys. A simple Google search can literally answer this question for you. It's really not that complex. You know what I'm saying? So tag a radio station that you think that I should be a radio presenter at in the comment section. My name is VJ. This is my platform, and have a good day. Hopefully I answered your guys' questions. I need to go and cook.
And you know what, the more I think about this random manipulation thing, the more I get angry, like, because it's not just about the finances. Yeah, we can say, oh, an iPhone is supposed to cost like 7K as opposed to 17K here. Do you guys understand the number of children who die of malnutrition in the country that because people can't afford to feed themselves and their kids as well? Like, do you understand that the healthcare sector, which honestly has been crumbling for a while, do you understand that that means we should at least have double the funds, or at least the fund should buy double the things. Every test, every specimen, and the people are looting billions, and I'm enraged because it's not just a finance man. It's literally like ethically, it's like a crime. It's like a financial genocide. I would even go as far as to attempted murder, because you're telling me that more than half of the country lives below the poverty line, which is about 3K. And 3K is at least supposed to buy them double the amount of things. Because then it'll be like, oh, 14 rand to the $1. I'm enraged. I'm livid. And I don't know the legal matters of it, but whoever takes this to court, whoever takes it, it's just not like, it's not a financial, it's not a white collar crime. It's not like, oh, embezzle. It's literally like an attack on a country's health systems, infrastructure. Like, I'm so mad.
So guys, what are we doing about the banks? Because the banks were like one of the biggest perpetrators in this whole rand manipulation saga. They're the ones who colluded with each other to purposefully devalue the rand, manipulated with the intention of devaluing it for their own profit and their own gains, making our lives expensive, unaffordable, and just unbearable, making it unaffordable for us to live. And they just get away with it and continue to have our business. Like, I for one, the bank I use, unfortunately for me, is one of the banks that was very much involved in this whole rand manipulation saga. So I absolutely want to take my business elsewhere. It doesn't matter if it's like in 300 and it doesn't make a difference, you know, bank fees that other people pay. Yes, that's fine. I don't care, as long as my conscience is clear and I'm not continuing to give, you know, my business to a company that would like commit such an act of treason, to commit such a crime against humanity. Like, I am taking this personally, like it's a personal crime against me, because me and my homegirls cannot live our best lives because you chose to do what you're doing.